Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to GE Face Masterclass. My name is Chi Chong, the Assistant Director of GE 通識教育部，歡迎大家 ，welcome. Please welcome Master Khalil Fong 方大同 ，welcome Khalil.
Hello, hi everyone. Thank you, Chi Chong.
Thank you.
We'll figure out the other mic. Aloha.
Yes, the show. Wow, time flies, right?
Yes.
It was about 11 years ago.
Yes.
I was so proud to be the show. I mean, the concert. Your first public concert in Hong Kong in 2015, I think. Yeah.
Yes, he was the one behind that.
Yeah, I was the producer before I joined Hong Kong GE. So today, I'm very honored on behalf of GE to welcome Khalil again here. Okay, give him a round of applause. Thank you. And today, as I said, it's a master class. It's a class. That's why it's not a star-chasing show, okay? And we have a lot of questions. In the first part, I prepared some questions for Khalil, because today's topic is about Khalil's music scene, which is about diversity and creativity, which relate to you a lot. And I believe that will help you to explore your life and to make your study here and your future life as successful as Khalil, hopefully, right? That's why I'm going to start with a very, very simple question. And welcome to Hong Kong, by the way, because we have over 100 origins of population and community here, right? And we are even doing a little bit of a Facebook Live, I think, in the only beginning to share with those who cannot join today. And with United Nations here in Hong Kong, I think we'd like to know how you would describe yourself, because you were born in Aloha Land, right? Kauai, a little island called Kauai, okay? Okay, tourist spot. And then from Hawaii, you moved to China, Shanghai, Guangzhou, and then Hong Kong. Would you describe yourself American-born Chinese? Many people would shorten it as ABC. Or you would describe yourself Hong Kong now? Or you're a Facebook citizen? Or you're a world citizen? Or Music Nation? Or Music Universe? Or Stevie Wonder fan? How would you describe yourself?
I realized. I think I put this. This is. I don't want this to.
Oh yeah.
Interrupt you.
No.
Because I think this is yours, right?
No. I have mine.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, I'm afraid that you're gonna be.
Okay.
No. In case, yeah.
See, we're very serious about our homework, okay? And so do you.
I don't want to throw you off, but well. Very good question. Very good question. I would say I'm almost most definitely quite most of what you mentioned. When I was, I don't know if you know, I was born in Hawaii, and so I don't look like I'm Hawaiian, but I was born there, and then I moved to Shanghai when I was 5 or 6, lived there for about 6 years, and then I went to Guangzhou, and then I came to Hong Kong. So I've been a couple places, and of course, I have traveled to different places at the same time. So for me, myself as well as my family background, and sort of our family culture and belief, we do see ourselves as world citizens. So that's very much that's very much our culture, I would say. So that's pretty much sums it. World citizen. A lot of people would say, oh, that's kind of odd. Like you don't. Who do you identify with? I mean, pretty much, I think that wherever you go, if you can make a friend, if you can have an emotional bond, that is a potential home. So yeah, that's
right. So how many of you have been traveling to Hawaii? Or watch Hawaiian TV show? Hawaii Five-O? Or how many of you like Hawaiian musician like Jack Johnson? Or any other Hawaiian-related culture? Because Hawaii is a melting pot, and its diversity and its globalism, I think, has some early shape upon you, and also in your mindset. Yeah. How would you say that will develop your later music career?
Well, develop my later music career. I think. Actually, it's interesting. A lot of people ask me a similar question on that aspect, and a lot of people do think that it is sort of Hawaii that might have influenced. But actually, what influenced, and you know this too, this is the second part of the answer, what probably influenced me the most is actually the film.
Ah, yeah.
Right? The film, La Bamba.
La Bamba? Do you mind hum a little line, maybe some unfamiliar? You actually have covered that song.
Yes, I have it in my album Timeless. So, my father was a drummer. He is a drummer, but I was introduced to a lot of music at a young age through jazz, R&B, funk music, Latin, whatnot. And that was sort of like the initial introduction to music. But I think my real sort of shaping of the mental format and the programming for wanting to be really involved in music, I think it was really after I watched La Bamba, which was a film about a singer in the 50s. His name is Richie Valens. It's a very moving story. It's a good, well, it's an old school film. If you watch it now, it looks very old, but it's a very good film nevertheless. It was actually produced by the same people who much later produced Ray, the film about Ray Charles. In fact, yeah.
So you're music icon.
One of them, yeah. In fact, I later found out that when he was doing La Bamba, he already wanted to do Ray, but it was too difficult back then to do a movie about an African American artist. So years later, he did an excellent film. So it was La Bamba that really, I think, sparked that emotion, that sort of passion for doing music. To see a story about a Hispanic who he was wanting to take his culture, his music, and bring it to the pop scene, and of course the tragedy in the end. But that was really something I think that affected me greatly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I can see some of them have passing eyes. Oh, La Bamba, what is it? Okay, if you want to check out the song, you can go online later. Okay, and if you want to hum the song, la 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 bamba da da da, something like that, right? Okay, sorry for my saying, but I just want to make you into this mode, into the Khalil's music diversity mode. Okay, and of course, Hawaii may not be the birthplace of the big music culture, but then I believe that the freedom and also the liberation that your parents and your grandparents have given birth to a lot of these musical genes and also the roots to your music genes, I would say. and ever since your parents given you some kind of cassette or vinyl, do you know what it is? It's like in the museum, right? Or now it's a revival actually. Do you have vinyl player? No, that's why. Only one, okay? My colleague. All right, but vinyl and cassette are those days MP3. So you know what I mean, right? And because of these carriers, but what it means is not the carriers, but the music essence. We know that they has transformed you into a music lover. And since when do you pick up an instrument or to play music, to hum along?
Well, that was definitely that was when I was a kid. I mean, when I was listening to my dad's records, he would play like Yvonne Lins and a few other names I can't remember. And he'd have a drum set, and so I'd listen to Yvonne Lins and I'd drum along with that. Okay. And then I'd hum, to like 1950s music after the Bamba. So I'd be like, oh, Dad, Mom, buy me the cassettes, the 1950 cassettes. So we have all these golden oldies, best of the 50s. And so I'd take, back then I didn't know how to play guitar, so I'd take a board. It was from a toy, and for some reason it was a flat board, and I'd pretend it was guitar. So that was my first sort of, attempt at playing, at thinking that I could play an instrument. Mm-hmm. So after that, I think somewhere along the way when I was 6, was it 6? Maybe 5 or 6? No, actually it should be around the time when I was 5. That was when I also got into Michael Jackson.
Oh, wow.
He was all over the place. He was everywhere. He was on MTV.
Yeah.
And he really influenced, lots of people. But for me, I spent a good, 2 or 3 years sort of and imitating Michael Jackson.
Is it a moonwalk thing first? Yeah. Any moonwalker in the room? Or is it his voice or the top?
In general, I wasn't. I was probably one of a couple million other people doing it too. But it was something that definitely really influenced my music. I mean, you can hear Michael Jackson in Justin Timberlake. You can hear Michael Jackson in Pharrell. In Justin Bieber. Who else? You can hear Michael Jackson in so many of these current very very popular pop artists. So his inspiration and his sort of his music has been a great, I would say,
source of inspiration,
source of creative force. Yeah, music. Yeah.
And I'm sure even these days we are all open to YouTube's, SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Music, and then there's also one theory about nurture nature, right. and I believe I don't know whether because I know that your parents are very open-minded and given the Hawaiian vibe, even though it is kind of imaginative. Today we have a lot of tiger parents. I hope yours is not okay. Tiger parents or monster parents that I give you this pounds of records, this pounds of song notes. You practice it and you learn it. But how about your upbringing? Is it more like a very organic, free nature, or your homeschooling, right?
Yeah.
This is very an alternative actually to us these days, especially.
Yeah, that was nature versus nurture in the sense where some is sort of predestined genetically, and some is learned in that sense. That's sort of that. And then the end of your question was the alternative approach
and
the parents, right?
freehand?
Yeah, I think my parents were very much very open-minded in that sense. Or back then in 1990 when we went to Shanghai, at that time it was really a pretty new thing, homeschooling, I think. And we had some friends who were also expats, and they were there. They were doing their own version of another school, because there are a couple different schools that offered curriculum. So for them, they wanted me to keep up my English at the same time as study in a local school in Shanghai. They wanted me to experience the normal life, learn Mandarin. They didn't want to move from Hawaii and go to an international school. It's kind of pointless for them. So we had I had a dual reality. So in the morning I would go to the local school at 6 a.m. and then I'd leave there around I think 2 or 3 in the afternoon, and then go home and continue my English with a homeschool.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was for primary. That was pretty much how my primary was, and then I continued onwards during doing this homeschooling for the rest of my education. I definitely think. I think we were definitely testing. They were testing the waters. Also, I think that they did definitely see. It was also in the situation. I think it was the best decision, and they wanted to also let me, I think, have a freedom to develop. And a lot of it was learning as we went along. There was no guidebook at that time. But looking back, I think that, and even my mother, who later went on into education, the idea, I think, was that studying is important. What kind of studying, also, how we study, what is the purpose at the end of the day when we go out into society? I think it's mainly that we want to be a useful person, to be useful in society, to be able also to communicate and to interact in a very positive way, I think, with the rest of the world. And so I think in whatever form of education we find ourselves in, or we try to, whether it's parents or whether it's personally we choose, I think that's always like the ultimate goal. So I think a lot of people do have this sort of disillusion kind of about what is education in the last 10 years, 20 years. And I think there are, but we can also see lots of interesting and new models popping up around the world too, that give an alternative, a very fresh take on it. And so, it's quite interesting. And even if we talk about another issue that I was talking to a friend, and they were saying this is not about studying, but it's about fresh mentality. I think it was in Australia that some hospitals are testing out the model where the doctors, their jobs are to make sure that their patients don't need to go to the hospital, to keep them healthy. And by doing that, they then get the sort of how would you say, what they get paid, basically. Yeah. So, and that's a whole different kind of mentality. Yeah, it's a different concept. But, I think that is also a very holistic approach. And I think it's definitely a very, if you can say, modern approach to doing things.
So it's the wellness.
Yeah, to keep keep them away from medicine.
Yeah. We should tell American school and combine with yoga class. All right, so it's a very interesting concept to bring in your homeschool days. And by the way, let's welcome Auntie Fong is in the house too. Okay, yeah, that brings the auntie. Okay. And a while ago we played the footage that consisted of some of your music icons and heroes. Of course, Michael Jackson and also Stevie Wonder. And you just told me at the backstage that there's a coincidence that Stevie Wonder, besides being your icon, and recently you had a very, very coincidence that happened to his album 40 years ago. Do you know Khalil has a new album out, which is a black and gold double album called JTW? Yeah, and that release day didn't choose it, but then it happened. And what is that?
Basically, I was. How many of you know this story? Just a few, right? Okay.
Yeah, the hardcore.
So, Stevie Wonder is also one of the biggest influences on my music, and his double album that was released in 1976. Not only for me, but for a lot of current pop music. It was a big influence. It was also pioneering. He was a pioneer in that, in the way he used synthesizers, the way he wrote the songs, the mentality behind it, and it was a very, very successful double album. And last week, I released my album. I released my album on the 28th. Anyway, so that day, I checked on Instagram, and another artist that I really liked had posted 40 years ago today, Stevie Wonder songs in the key of life. I was like, huh? And I was like, nah. And I went on Wikipedia, and I was like, oh wow, it is 1976, September 28th. And it was quite something to me because It was a really random date. Our original date was earlier because we had delayed. We had to choose another date, so it was a random date that worked for everyone. Worked for scheduling, worked for the press, whatnot. So, these things are really strange like that. You never know how the universe, the cosmos, how they react. But it's just, another double album with such a great influence on me, and my double album. Mm-hmm. And also, we both have 21 songs. Yeah.
Wow.
So
that might be about creativity or about how he's in your blood. And can you tell us? But he's still alive. Come on, he's still awake and kicking. He's very energetic in fact.
Yeah.
And he's into many new things. Somebody told me he's now. There's a new instrument called handpan. It's like a walk. He even played around that thing. And so tell us, how important is Stevie Wonder? You mentioned a little bit about Michael Jackson. Now Stevie Wonder, how his blood is transfusing.
Yeah. We did. I called him up. Can we do a blood transfusion? And so
Motown, maybe Motown is also the label, right?
Yeah.
From America.
He Motown. Michael Jackson also influenced. Stevie Wonder also influenced Michael Jackson a lot. And MJ. The thing about MJ was he's very one of the most talented guys, but he was also at this moment in time where when he grew up, he was able to be around and be backstage on the side of the stage to see people like Stevie Wonder, to see people like Elvis, to watch and to get wisdom from people like Fred Astaire. Some of you might not know, but he's also really one of the greats, a great dancer, tap dancer, very elegant, wonderful dancer, and all these just amazing artists. Michael Jackson was able to. James Brown, he was able to just like a sponge to take it all in, and then the way that he was able to sort of translate all of this information was very unique to himself. And then Stevie Wonder. So to Stevie Wonder, for me, I think he really bridged the gap from Motown to bringing R&B music into pop music, and to making that language really, I think, travel far to a broader audience. And he really talked about a lot of universal subjects. And it wasn't the usual pop song. Not the usual pop songs aren't good, but he was able to have content that you wouldn't normally have in a song and make it very much acceptable, or even loved by all. So that was very unique about him, and you can really tell his music is really sincere, and it breaks a lot of barriers. So he's an inspiration to a lot. I think a lot of people have through their music tried to maybe because they recreate or be inspired by that sort of mentality. Yeah.
Putting your story into our context.
好，我哋聽到呢度，俾啲掌聲我哋今日嘅嘉賓。